guys, Cassie Deputy at DeputyTribe.com. Today we are going to be reviewing one of the Heroes of History YWAM books, which is Youth with a Mission. And this one is about Harriet Tubman. So come on and check it out right after this. Hey guys, welcome back to Deputy Tribe. Today we're going to be reviewing this book here by YWAM, Youth with a Mission. Now, Youth with a Mission Publishing, I will include the link below. First of all, if you're new here, welcome. My name's Cassie. I am a homeschooling mom of 8 children, and we talk a lot about missions, ministry. What else do we talk about? Homeschooling a large family, how large families function, healthy eating. We vacation and travel. We own our own businesses. We do a lot with politics. My husband runs for office and he teaches classes on the Constitution. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, and we also review a lot of homeschool curriculum. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, go ahead and hit subscribe right now and give this video a thumbs up. So now back to this book. So YWAM Publishing has a series of books called Heroes in History. I don't know if you guys can see this, but I will include the link down in the description box below. So what we got was the Harriet Tubman book here. And as you can see, these books are pretty inexpensive. So we got this book. We also got the unit study curriculum guide for it, which I'm going to talk about. And then I went ahead and ordered the audiobook. I ordered the MP3 download. And so we got to listen to it being read to us, which really was fun. Here's their main site here. So let's go right here. Okay, so how we use this. We use this as basically our entire, like a unit study type thing is what we did. So this is Harriet Tubman's biography. It basically goes from when she was little. It's really easy to read. My 9-year-old loves to read these by herself. And it goes just chapter by chapter here. And it goes all the way pretty much through her life. Lots of historical content. The thing I love most about these books is they're very much not shy to focus in on where Christ and the Bible and these moral foundation and framework impacted their lives and history. So that's why I love these books. I also love to read living books where it tells a story, because your kids and me get a lot more out of the context of what's going on during that time in history. You get to kind of make connections that you didn't make before. So we really enjoyed this book. We read about I wanted to read about a chapter or 2 a day, but my kids loved it so much we ended up doing I had to cut them off after 2 chapters, we'll just say that. So it comes with, it doesn't come with, but you can also get this study guide. And what this study guide has is, you see here, it has a lot of content. So I'm just gonna go through the little bits that we use. So here's the table of contents. It has key quotes, a display corner, questions for each chapter, student explorations, community links, social studies, related themes to explore. It gives you a list of other books to get, lots and lots of resources here. So what we mostly use, so there's Harriet Tubman, and there's the dates she was around. So it kind of gives you a unit study curriculum guide, okay? Lots and lots of cool stuff. Quotes that were from that time period. Okay, so here's the chapter questions. So as you can see, short questions for each chapter. The first question is a vocab question, and then the questions get kind of progressively deeper. So what we did was we sat down and so after we finished our chapters, I would give them the vocab words. So fugitive and catechism. And then they would take our 1828 dictionary. They would look those words up, write the definition, and use the word in a sentence. And if I can grab one of their notebooks here, and then we notebooked everything in our history notebooks where we keep everything. So here's like solidified and extinguished. They wrote what it meant. They drew a little picture, and then they were to use it in a sentence so that I saw that they knew how to use that word, if that makes sense. The rest of the questions we would discuss out loud. So we would discuss who helped Harriet and the runaway slaves when they arrived at Williamton. Easy question. You give a name, right? For younger students. Harriet had slaves to lead out of Egypt and into the promised land. What did she consider the promised land and why? So this one explains a little bit more in depth. So like my toddlers could answer who helped Harriet, right? They could answer that. My 7-year-old could answer this question, right? Because he paid enough attention. And then the next question, why do you think the meeting with her husband John changed Harriet's mission from saving her own family to saving any slave brave enough to go with her? Okay, so this was a more like, let's look at Harriet, let's look at the events that she faced, and let's discuss how it affected her as a person. How did it shape her worldview? How did it shape her decisions, right? And then a lot of them are like, if you were in her position, what would you have done and why? Okay, so they're very deep. They help us connect with the text a bit. So some of these we would discuss. Some of these I would have them notebook about. And then we really got to dive deeper, and I got to teach them some critical thinking skills, which was nice. I'm just going to page through this so you can kind of see. The other thing we did was we just kind of documented her life and the events that took place, different things that happened at those points in history, bloomers. My daughter likes fashion, so she wanted to kind of talk about the different fashion that was going on at that time. So this is really neat to go back and look at. I have my other children's notebooks here. Here's my younger child. She struggles a lot with handwriting. So I had her do less work. And of course I would go through and correct their spelling errors, their punctuation. We'd talk about different ways they could have worded certain sentences to make them make more sense. Oh, she missed a whole page there. So she's still learning how to notebook, so hers isn't as nice here. We printed out maps on where she lived. This daughter loves to write, so she wrote and wrote and wrote about Harriet Tubman's life. Lots and lots of writing for her. Not so many pictures, but we worked on that as the lessons progressed here. Yeah, so that is how we did that. So there's chapter questions. Let's see. There's a lot of different ideas in here. There's different exploration ideas. Here's essay questions if you want your children to write an essay like as a book project at the end of reading it. Creative writing. You can look up Negro spirituals and kind of like that type of stuff. You can explore the Civil War period more. There's a lot of hands-on projects. Create postcards, sketch a portrait of an abolitionist. We studied Sojourner Truth quite a bit along this period of time. Make a comic book, interview people, different crafts, draw plans for your house where you would put secret tunnels if you were going to try to hide runaway slaves. Go visit places. I mean, tons of ideas, you guys, tons of ideas. So what we did is, one of the things that it suggests is to make a timeline of important events that happened in Harriet's life. So we kind of did this, and we have here our book of centuries, and we timelined, there's Harriet Tubman and her life, and we went through and kind of timelined this whole period of history and in relation to her life and where she was and the different people that were alive and what was going on during this American Civil War period. So this really helped us draw a lot of connections. I also had some other books that we were reading. I had some audiobooks we were listening to that were also taking place in the same time, like the Civil War period. So we really got to draw a lot of connections of, oh, she ran into this person, and oh, Harriet heard of Stonewall Jackson, and oh, this president, Abraham Lincoln, and Harriet was connected with Abraham Lincoln. Sojourner Truth was connected with Abraham Lincoln. Thomas Stonewall Jackson, like all the connections we got to make doing this timeline was really, really fun. So more on the study guide here. It also suggested doing some quilting, having an emancipation party. We did explore, so here's some more subjects, kind of a breakdown. It suggested doing quilting and weaving. So we did have the opportunity during the period of reading this book to actually attend a crafting day where there was a lot of different crafts going on, and which included quilting. So I'll drop some photos, and we took on a sewing project, but my children got to experience bookbinding and all these different types of skills and crafts. And we got to talk a lot about how those skills and crafts coincided with this period of time. So I'll shoot some pictures right there. So that was another fun connection we got to make. And the last fun connection we got to make is my husband is actually from Liberia. He's Liberian. He became an American citizen in, let's see, I forget what year, but when our third daughter was just born. So the runaway slaves, some of the things that they talked about in this book was Harriet Tubman was extremely against sending slaves back to Africa. And Liberia was actually founded by freed slaves from America, which was a really cool connection we got to make with our family heritage. So we talked a lot about how the blacks that were freed during the slavery period didn't have skill sets, they didn't know how to think for themselves, they didn't know how to work for themselves. They were so ingrained in you are provided for, you do what you're told, you don't have the freedom or the skills or the power to make anything of yourself by yourself. So that's the state of mind that they were in. So Harriet knew that sending them back to Africa would not be good for them because they already had roots here in America. They were just as much American citizens as anyone else, or should have been. And a lot of America was built off their sweat and their tears, right? And so Harriet wanted to teach them to be able to provide for themselves. It's enslaving for the black people to be dependent on somebody else to provide for them. And they didn't have the skills. If you sent them back to Africa, they would likely just die because they didn't have the skills to think for themselves or provide for themselves. So it was really cool connection because my children are Liberian and my husband is Liberian, and our family just loved reading this book and the connections that we got to make. So go ahead and check the description below. I'll send you to YWAM Publishing. I'll send you to the Harriet Tubman audiobook, the study guide, the actual book if you want to explore that. I will also leave a link below where you can read other reviews on other YWAM books that were recently read by my review crew. So go ahead and check all that stuff out and visit deputytribe.com for more reviews, more tips, more tricks on homeschooling, curriculum, and all sorts of wonderful stuff. So go ahead and check those things below. And that's it. Thanks, guys.